Alright, well it's summer again and I'm dealing with this Polo brand air conditioner, portable one. The bearings are really noisy in one of the motors in it. I assume there's two motors from what I've been hearing. It's making a horrible squeaking whirring sound that I identify as shot motor bearings. It's hot in here, I'm frustrated, I've got multiple sclerosis, I need this working. So I have already removed a bucket ton of screws that everywhere I can find. We'll see if we can resurrect this or if we're up for another $1,000. Got most of the screws out as best I can tell. There's a gap forming here. I'm going to investigate. It looks like these come off in two halves, and this is the bit that's holding the two halves together, this and that. So I think I've got to take this off, then that, and then the sides. Alright, after concluding that there was no other option, I almost broke it. I slid this bit backwards. So, there are little lugs here that are designed for that piece to slide backwards, which appears to be covering up a bunch of other screws in here. This is good. This is the key to some things. I did feel like there was an extra screw under here. I wasn't wrong. Alright, having got the top off, two more screws in here and here, and it pulls away. Careful of the wiring loom, which does fortunately unplug by the looks. We have access to compressor, probably not fan motors yet. Alright, we're getting somewhere now. I was worried about having to unplug this louver wire with the wiring being tucked up behind here, but fortunately the whole side comes off. Now I have access to the motors, and I was right, there are two motors. I've got to work out which one's the noisiest one, and it's going to be a pain to remove them to oil them. I was hoping I could get to the rear bearing here. This is not a bearing cap. That might be replaceable though, but it's not going to be as simple as just oiling them. Alright, let's see if we can pick up on the noise here. That one's definitely got some noisy bearings. See if I can press the microphone up to it. You ready? Listen. That's not a good bearing. Alright, we've got the back off. Noting the dangerous start capacitor. If we give this one a bit of a spin, she's nice and quiet. So that one's okay. This is the noisy one. Now to see if we can actually pull it out and do something about the bearing. Okay, so it looks like to remove this, I've probably got to remove it with the fan blades intact. To do that, I'm going to have to take this bracket, possibly the foam. To take the foam, I'm going to have to undo two screws, and it looks like it's been taped together with packing tape, which I guess is cheap. And I risk damaging a lot of stuff. There is a nice little circuit diagram here. I'll take a photo in a minute, and I'll put that up on screen if I remember. But I'm thinking I might be able to remove the fan and extract the motor with the fan blades off and leave them in there, hopefully. You know, and despite trying to keep the filters into it, there's still a bit of dust build up on the condenser in here. I'll have to clean that up. But where I'm interested, I've got to get into this and see if I can prise the circlip off so that I can extract that motor. Now this is going to be a tricky shot to get, but when I shine this in here, I see right near where my finger is there's a Phillips head screw in there. If I can get a screwdriver between these blades, I can probably pull that blower motor out. Okay, a set of Stilsons on the end of the screwdriver. I think I broke the thread locker loose. Now, if you're trying to use this video as a tutorial, it's about this point where I'll tell you this is the first time I've ever done this on this particular model. And probably don't unscrew that screw all the way, you'll never get it back. It needs to stay in there, just be loose. So I think I've got it loose about as much as I dare. At this point, I'm going to try and take this motor off. Well, this went way better than I thought. It just comes straight off. That is a very noisy bearing. It looks like I can separate the halves here. This might be a serviceable motor. That's really, 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 really good. Right, I got the cover off. There's a bit of aluminium tape on the top I had to cut. I have some more of that. These wires look like they go around into this plug. Looks like it's running in three-phase. So I think we're going to have to undo the ground and then the plug. Alright, looks like there's a start capacitor there. I've got to remember the colours. I'll take a photo on that. Okay, so this thing was recently powered up. It's kind of dangerous at the moment. Keeping my fingers right here, I'm going to short this cap out. Right, apparently they've put a good bleed resistor across it. So, because it was powered up. Okay, so it turned out easier to just take the motor out with the capacitor attached. 300 screws later. We'll see if we can get this apart and fix it. It's not good. Alright, let's put a little bit of oil in this shaft. See if one bearing quietens down a bit. I think it's the rear bearing. That is a nasty bearing. Yeah.
20 minutes later.
Okay, a bit of gentle persuasion in the shed later. There's our problem bearing. This is actually a serviceable motor. I can open this up. Who makes this? There's your label if you're looking for it. So I think I can easily press that bearing off and go get another one.
A few moments later.
Okay, so this is the armature we have out. We took the circlip off, which is, we did lucky not losing that, and the spring washer, we got that out, which is good. That helps pre-tension the front here. This bearing's fine. This bearing's shot. And some years ago, I was going to make fidget spinners, and I bought a bunch of bearings to do it. Wouldn't you believe? These are exactly the right bearings, and they're the double Z high temperature shielded ones. They're exactly what I would have bought. They're exactly the right size. Internal and external, they're the right bearings. Holy crap. Alright, I really needed a win today, and I got it. This has got to be the easiest bearing change. 2 taps with a pin punch. She fell out, and I just slotted the other one back onto my thumbs. It's perfect. Partly reassembled. The bearings fit. That front bearing actually does sound kind of noisy now that I've got it back together. We might change the front one as well. Alright, so when I put it back together, the other bearing was a bit growly. I changed them both. Didn't take very long at all. Right, we've got 2 new bearings in here. Beautiful and smooth. Okay, we'll line these 2 halves up. The grommet's in a bit of disarray, but I don't think that's going to impact its function. I'm going to leave it that way. It's nice to know I can open this up. So now I've got to put all the screws back in, the ground wire, all the rest. We'll put it back together, see what happens. Alright, now the time comes to put it back together. So before I put everything else in, I'm going to do the motor mount first. I'm going to put that in, then I'll plug everything else in. So that gives me maximum opportunity to try and line up the propeller with the motor shaft, which is going to be interesting.
12 seconds later.
Alright, that was way easier. There doesn't appear to be a keyway in there. It's just that retaining screw. So we might be good. And this has gone in. I'll put some screws in. I could see the hole. Everything's good. So I'm just going to continue putting this back together, and we'll jump to test run. Alright, we're going to run the same test we did before. We're going to put the phone against the motor. We're going to pull it with our hand. I don't hear nothing. That is a silent fan. That's what we wanted. Right, now comes time to test it. We're just plugging the front panel in. I'd wager it will work without having the infrared or the louvers attached. We're going to use an RCD protected thing in here, even though there's already one on the circuit. Just in case we do something stupid, we put the zappy cover back on, so we should be alright. We get some fan going. Go cool mode. Let's go fan mode. Did we go fan mode, or did it throw an error? I hadn't clipped the motor connection on properly. I think that might have been the issue. Alright, she works way better with a fan connector plugged in. Let's go up speed. Let's see. It's the quietest I think it's ever been. That is beautiful.
1 hour later.
Alright, we're finally almost back together. We've got a couple of screws to put in on the bottom, but this should sit on. These little hooks should chop in, and that should slide forwards. And 2 screws in the back.
2 hours later.
Alright, let's see if this is the end of the video. Pop our vent up, turn her on to fan mode. I'm so glad to see that. Now, I could use the rotate mode and everything, but just turning the vents by hand is easier. I have an air again. I'm going to let it sit before I try the compressor. we'll kick back into that in a minute. Alright, so I think we've been pretty successful with the video and changing bearings, although I've just got more grease on my hands. I'll need some more grit mitts for that. This bearing, as I've just described it to a mate, was like walking on Lego. It's, you can actually do this and it doesn't spin. It's almost, I'd say if I was to autopsy this, there'd be like metal paste in there. And the bearings we put in here are 608Zs. These are used in 3D printer bearings. Now if you get a double Z bearing, it's usually high temperature and shielded. The first Z here is for shielding. But yeah, 608 bearing. That's all we needed for this. And it's a 608. And this one is a standard 608Z. It is exactly the same bearing. So all good stuff. Okay, so yeah. If your air conditioner stops working, you can dismantle an old 3D printer and put the bearings in it, I guess. Anyway, well, I'm glad to have cool air, and this is the start of my videos with background noise, because with multiple sclerosis I need this air conditioner. So anyway, we'll see you in the next one, and hopefully I'll swear at things less behind the camera.